Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King 2. And today I'm going to be giving you part 13 of What If Naruto Travel to Hashirama's Time. Remember to get this one to 200 likes as usual, share this to all of your friends in your social media platform, and also go ahead and check out the brand new episode of What If Naruto was given a gift that changed everything over on Anime King, and enjoy that guys. And I also post a new episode on this channel of What If Naruto had a new dream that changed everything as well. So go ahead and check out that and enjoy. Remember, if you're new and this is the first time you hear my voice and you enjoy the videos on both Anime King and Anime King 2, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and support. And yeah, without further ado, what is to begin this new episode? Start the intro. So, the last spot we left off, as Menma had revealed himself to be on Madara's side, that surprised and shocked Kushina and Minato, as they couldn't believe it. As Madara wanted to see Naruto, as he wanted Naruto. It was startling when everyone saw that Naruto arrived there, as Kushina pleaded for him to run, but he did not. As he went there, as he faced off against Madara, Madara saw it, though it was a clone, as the clone was begging him to kill him, so Madara did. As he snapped his neck, everyone watched with shock. Minato got furious as he unleashed towards Madara, but he was stopped by the first to arrive. As Naruto was standing there, yes, he has used a transformation to make himself a bit older, so he wouldn't resemble his clone that he created, with the using of seals to make it stay longer than usual, not to mention even being in a death-like state. His body was carried off as he asked for 1 day to speak to all of them, but Madara gave him 6 hours. As he was curious, Naruto made his way as he went in the tent. As he saw Mito, he instantly recognized what she was using as he removed the transformation. Mito was just as young when she was in her youth, in her late 20s. She was using the Edo Tensei all this time, as Naruto wanted to know who did she take the body from, but the woman willingly signed up for this, so that Mito could survive. As Mito was acting like she didn't know where the rest of the boxes were. As Naruto wanted answers, there was a third party involved that was doing everything behind the scenes, but he didn't know who or what it was. But he would have to fate this war to draw them out, as he went over to Madara. As Madara said that he found seals quite handy. He didn't quite explain how he was still young like Mito, but it wasn't the Edo Tensei, or some twisted version of it though. As the both of them sat down to talk, as Naruto got the story from Menma, who seemed a bit off-put that his brother was dead, but not that much, as he never knew that Madara would kill him. As Mito has been running the show for a long while now, she insisted on having Naruto born. She was one behind the scenes of his birth and everything. She also was the one that told Kushina to settle down with Minato and spend some more time with him, leading to Naruto's birth. But why now then? Why did she not show herself until now? As she has not shown the box up until now. Minato and Hirsan and others came over, as they really think they could best him and Madara if they stood here. But it was strange the way Hirsan said it, like they had something up their sleeve that him and Madara did not know about. Something was definitely wrong. As Naruto also saw Obito, he put this man in the masked man place, as he could tell that this man was the guy that was wearing the orange mask back in his time. But for what reason that led him down the path, he did not know, as he had the same abilities. As the 6 hours were nearly ending, it was then that Mito sent a note with Haruto to give to Naruto, as she told him to be cautious. It seems like someone might block his path, but whatever he did, make sure he got the note. So yeah guys, so it's basically as we left off. You guys can switch across the page and take care of yourself. So what's the beginning of this new episode? Madara was currently sitting in his tent, waiting for the time to fly by, when Uchiha suddenly poked his head inside. Madara-sama, may I have a moment of your time? Sasuke Uchiha was someone that Madara was interested in from the start. Two things. He looked like Aisuna, yes, so much. And not to mention this was the one that Naruto spoke about in his time. Perhaps not having that bonding, not having that rivalry between them, was what stunted Sasuke's growth in this time, because he was not as powerful as the way Sasuke spoke of him in his time. But he was here for a reason. Madara wanted to know what it is. What is it, my boy? He asked. Sasuke walked inside as he bowed his head. I don't see why this war is necessary. Or why you had to kill Naruto, he said as he looked up at Madara. Not beating around the bush, are we, Sasuke? Said Madara as he tilted his head with a small smile on his face. Sasuke's to the point attitude was refreshing at times. Keep in mind that we know that this day will come for some time now. We were simply waiting until we could wait no longer. As Madara watched as Sasuke's hand clenched the material of his pants. Why do we have to kill Naruto? Did you care for him that much, said Madara, as he saw the same anguish in Sasuke's eyes. The same anguish that he had when he think about anyone hurting his brother. Yes, it was that same pain and rage. I suppose I could answer your question. It will become to be known eventually, but for now, keep this to yourself. The boy I killed, this Naruto, that was a clone. A very well constructed one. A clone? But how? Uzumaki Naruto is quite proficient at seals, said Madara. You may see him again once this war sorts itself out. It is close to the climax. Are you ready? Can you face your other teammates in battle? So you mean this whole time Sasuke seemed to be stuck on the fact that Naruto was a clone, or maybe he realized the person on his team was Uzumaki Naruto the whole time? More or less. Maybe a month or so, said Madara. But as for my earlier questions, I believe we're not going to really fight Konoha. Naruto would not take on those who he sees as innocents. You seem awfully forthcoming. I've known you since I was very young, but you always kept information to yourself, said Sasuke, as he regained his composure, let Madara's explanation clear everything up for him. Well, Naruto is getting quite aggravated by the fight, so I guess cooling everything down should be in order. I also need you to remain loyal to the cause, Sasuke, said Madara as he stood up. Had you decided that the clone death was worth deserting over, well, I would have hated to see you make such a mistake, given how promising of a shinobi that you are. As Madara sat back down with tension disappearing as quickly as it appeared. If you want to aim your irritation somewhere, aimed at Naruto himself, it was his idea. I am still not sure why you wanted the clone to be so convincing. Sasuke stood, moving to the door rather quickly. Oh, and do remember to keep this to yourself, Sasuke-kun. I hate for a conflicting piece of information to confuse all the troops. You understand, don't you? It was not a question and Sasuke knew that. He was grateful for the information but confused by it even more. Mostly though, he was unsure what Madara really wanted. As Sasuke nodded as he left the tent. Meanwhile, as Naruto sensed the approach of Haruto long before the man became visible, he seemed to be taking great care not to be noticed, as he probed his son to see the chakra that the man had, a lot of it, as he went over his sensory ability. As he could hardly tell much more anyway. Was Haruto a sensor? Did he have a wind affinity? Did he have a summoning contract? And the smaller questions was, did he have a favorite color? What was his favorite food? Did he struggle with his training like him when he was younger? What made Uzumaki Haruto the man that he was today? He stood and stretched, knowing that he had a little time left before the war began, as Haruto appeared holding a small scroll in his hand. Mito-sama asked me to bring this to you. He was formal and polite, but Naruto could feel the man's chakra. As he took the scroll, are you supposed to wait for a reply? She did not say, but given a few moments that you'll be my enemy. I am not sure what I'm supposed to do. Wait then, perhaps this contains information I've been looking for. If it is, there won't be any war. I don't want to fight Konoha. I'm trying to find the enemy. And it is not Madara, asked Haruto as he looked towards Uchiha camp. No, and it is not Konoha either. Someone else. The fifth is a particular interest to me, and some others. But for now, let me see what this is. Haruto looked like he wanted to say more, but he simply relaxed his body as he stood there waiting. As Naruto gaze traveled over, a memory seal, as he looked at it. Smart, it was meant to hold vital information that could be transferred or delivered in a moment. He would see hours, minutes, or years of information, while only a few moments passed. The idea had been developed after watching his information technique with the clones. As he pressed his hand on it, it's been far too long, Naruto-gun. First, allow me to apologize what we put you through. Please believe that it was more necessary than you know. To save time, I put together a memory seal. Time is short, as you well know. I could not step away from chain of command, and I hope after you say the truth, You will understand why, as it wrote, Mito. As Naruto's hand started to glow with chakra, as he placed it directly into the confinement of the seal, to see what exactly was going on. As he was pulled, as a memory shot into his mind. I need to talk to you. I need your help. But you can't tell anyone what I'm about to tell you. It's about Naruto, and where I found him from, Hashirama said in a rush. There was an urgency to his tone that had Mito immediate attention. She placed the teacup that she's been holding down, as she shifted her body so she was focusing on him. He had just gotten back home, it was late already. The children were in bed. He hadn't even greeted properly, so whatever was bugging him must be of the highest importance. I thought he was a part of the wandering faction, she said. He looked away, his mouth pulling into a tight frown. Not exactly, but I'm gonna need your help in getting him home. You see, Naruto isn't exactly from here. Hashirama, wait. Slow down. Start from the beginning. As she walked closer to him, as she placed a hand on his shoulder to make him calm down, as he was clearly stressed, more so than usual. Come, sit. I'll make sure the house is secure. As she leaned to the couch, as he sat down, as she moved from window to window, sealing each to make sure they had complete privacy. The doors are locked and seals as well. She then moved back to the couch and sat down and she held his hands. We found Naruto outside the Senju compound. By we, I mean Madara and I. We have known each other since we were kids. As he then started to go into detail and tell her every single thing, what happened the first day they found Naruto, as she listed everything keenly. Hearing about Naruto coming from the future, as she kept quiet through all of this, as she was intrigued. As she heard about Tobirama and Aizen find out, and how Naruto sensing help a lot there, to stop a deadly battle that might have started. He detailed how they schemed to bring Naruto to Uzumaki so that he might receive training. As she understand the real reason why Naruto did not know about the Uzumakis, it was because the clan was extinct in his own time. As he told her how he planned to bring the clans together, how the village was created far earlier and far bigger than usual. And now here we sit, briefing the benefits of Naruto knowledge from the future. I'm told Konoha would have been amazing regardless, but it's much better now. For one, it has the Uzumakis. As he stopped and he gave her a quick kiss on the cheek. This has been fascinating, my love. But this doesn't explain why you need my help, she said. Ah yes, I want to send Naruto back to his present, said Hashirama. But why, she said. She placed a hand on his cheek. It would hardly be his world anymore, considering that he went back to a world that was affected by the change that we made here. He might go to a different world or his old world, it is hard to say for sure. To protect him, Hashirama said. I can't keep him safe anymore. They're too cunning. Someone has been trying to take him, trying to kill him. Mito wasn't really surprised because she knew that the 5 of them were powerful shinobis, and there was some assassination attempts. However, for the attempts to be bothering Hashirama, they had to be more serious than she could even imagine. As Hashirama looked exhausted, he's so oblivious, it's ridiculous. But I chose not to tell him. Let him believe in all the good things in this world. How could I ruin that about him? And yet I made this decision when I thought the problem would be dealt with months ago. Since then there have been more attempts on his life that I know of, that I might just stop. Have you spoken to Madara about this? Asked Mito, as his abilities could be useful to the cause. But Hashirama shook his head. I don't want to include Madara. He's got such a suspicious nature already. For all the good intention he has, he'll be a bit extreme by protecting Naruto. And he will resort to unfathomable means. He could cause a problem, harm innocents, and alert Naruto to the problem. Alright, what do you need me to do? She said. I want to send him home, to where they can't get to him. We need to create a seal that will send him home. It was some days later when Hashirama told her about the tail beasts, and how Naruto sealed them away. It wasn't hard to believe when she sensed the chakra emanated from Naruto's core. The chakra that was too otherworldly for her to believe that it was Naruto's. I speculate whoever this person is, they're after the tail beasts. What else could they possibly want? Haven't you seen him? Asked Mito. If so many attempts were made, then surely he's seen them. No, it's strange. It is like there's some mastermind behind the attempts, more than the individuals themselves. Some of them don't even remember trying to kill the first, take him away. It was like they were compelled in some way. That sounds like genjutsu, said Mito. Please, don't even start on the Uchihas, he said. I got Tobirama every day trying to tell me how suspicious this or that Uchiha is behaving, and it hurts that my own brother can't let things go. I'm not, she said as she hugged him. Uchihas are not the only people that can perform genjutsu. Besides, Tobirama think they're worth watching, nothing more. Although it's bordering on obsessive if he keeps it up. I just hope we manage to figure this out before it's too late, he said. As some time passed after that, as Mito rubbed her eyes, as she's been putting him through quite a strain to accomplish his seal. The seal foundation was in place, but it was still far from being finished. Mom? Little Kazuna was standing in the doorway. As it was late, she should be sleeping. "What's the matter, dear?" said Mito as she moved to her daughter. "Can I have some water?" As Mito smiled offered her hand, as her daughter took it. Once she tended to her daughter and put her back to bed, she decided to call it a night. Some sleep might do her well. As she reached the doorway, a shadowy figure looked up. Her heart leapt up to her throat. "Who?" was all she could say. "Ceiling. Interesting." The figure grin, wide and unnatural. These calculations are indeed very grand in scale. She took a step in the room, a step towards it. Whatever it was, it did not move. "Doesn't it bother you?" As she blinked and it was gone. It was behind her now. So close. "I mean, I know all about your precious Naruto-sama, who he is, and where he came from." She was frozen in place, unable to pull herself away from this creature. I wonder what the world could have been without his interference. Who would be alive, who wouldn't? That Hokage of yours is rather soft-hearted. He might have left an enemy alive that may one day come to destroy all that is precious to you. Not to mention the balance of the world has been completely destroyed, ripped apart. This little village of yours cannot go on so good forever. Your precious son and daughter will have to grow up, become shinobis themselves, who must face the brunt of Naruto interference with the world. At the mention of her children, she spun around to face the creature. But there was nothing behind her. A soft laugh filled the room, before it disappeared completely. As she heard the front door open, that was why he'd left. Hashirama person scared it. She couldn't know for sure. As she rushed down the hall, tears in her eyes. "I know what's trying to kill Naruto, and it's not a Uchiha." As he grabbed his wife in a hug, as he let her calm down. "It is some sort of creature," she said. "A terrifying thing made from malice and hate that seemed to be born from the shadows itself." She shivered as she could sense the thing's presence and the way it felt. That pure malice. She didn't know exactly what the feeling was, but it was strange, mixed with something else and pure hate. I had noticed a pattern in those attacks. Their background, hard to notice. I think it's a fury that Naruto sense its influence. It don't want to come near to Hashirama. I wonder why it showed itself so fully to you. I don't want to see it again. We need to protect Naruto. We need to finish the seal before that thing get what it wants. Should we not tell him, she asks. His sensory ability can flush this thing out. It is far stronger than mine. I don't think so. It is smart. It succeeded in hiding his presence very well. I barely managed to keep the attempts from Naruto. His automatic assumption that everyone wants peace and love Konoha as he does is something of a double-edged sword. It keeps him oblivious, both in a good and bad way. Come on, let's get some sleep, he said. No point in dwelling on that. We don't know the answer to. Mito moved with him, but she wasn't going to get any sleep. That thing was in their house. It was able to bypass all their seals. Not to mention, he didn't even register on the seal matrix as an intruder. Was it even alive? Naruto watched in memory as Mito, as she succeeded in seal, texting out on different plants and food life and animals. Well, at least they test seal first before slamming him with it. As they craft plan after plan how they were going to apply it to him. But the memories did not stop, so much more was revealed. As Mito felt the seal in matrix, something pulsed. Kazuna, we need to go visit Uncle Tobirama, Mito said. As she heard her daughter, her footsteps. Nowaki was already at school, so he'll be safe with the academy instructors. As they made their way down the streets, most of the Konoha citizens, even unaware. As she made it towards Hokage's tower, as she saw Madara walking as well. Had he also felt the wave? Probably. As he saw her coming and stop. I take it, I wasn't the only one that felt that. She nodded as they made their way. In times like these, Tobirama wouldn't be far away from the Hokage's office. Upon entering the room, she saw a painful sight. As Tobirama immediately turned, as he looked towards the girl, and rushed over towards her, as he swept her away from the room quickly as possible. As she hoped that she didn't see the bruised, beaten form of the Hokage. Hashirama was there as well, eyes dead, as he looked beaten as well. I couldn't stop it, Hashirama said. I wasn't able to stop them. As Mito dressed Hashirama's wounds, Madara looked over at Naruto's beaten form. As Madara saw the large burn on Naruto's torso, a mark from the seal. Who is them? Said Madara. As she looked towards Hashirama as he nodded, she knew that it wasn't a them, as it was a seal that Hashirama placed on him that gave him that mark. The man then gave a fictional story of how Naruto had died protecting him from a jutsu. As Mito could see that her husband was right when he said Madara would go overboard if he found out that Naruto was being threatened, as she could feel the wave of pure murder and malice and hate and anger coming from the man. Where? He said, as he had told the location where they were attacked, as he had performed a good scuffle out there to make sure that looked they were attacked, as they were the one left in the office right now. Telling him the truth, He would have only stopped us from sending Naruto away, Hashirama said. I had to do it. This morning. He was nearly attacked again, and I was barely able to stop his Hashirama. So I brought him out for a sparring, and I used it. As he could barely hold back the tears. I just prayed that I didn't send him to his death prematurely. Mito was silent as she pulled him into a tight hug. Time skip. Madara has grown suspicious. Hashirama has taken over the title as Hokage. As he was currently talking to Mito, his intuition is on another level. I always forget how good he is. Why? He's able to go toe-to-toe with you. You could talk to him. Tell him the truth now. Perhaps it's too late for him to stop the plan. I'll invite him to dinner. 2 days later as Madara knocked on their door. An hour and a half later, as Madara threw a chair across the room, smashing it in pure rage. You had no right to make that decision on your own, he shouted, as he left the house, slamming the door behind him. And 2 days later, Madara was gone, as he left Konoha. It was a whole year later when they learned of Naruto's existence. The 5-month blonde year Uzumaki was hailed as the first legacy. Hashirama did his best to quell the excitement, knowing that Naruto enemies would love nothing more than to kill the boy before he learned to talk. Mito on the other hand took it upon herself to invite Naruto and his mother to stay with them. After all, it was the least they could do after cutting Naruto from his father and taking away Naruto time in this world so quickly. Through these memories, that was how Naruto was able to see Naruto's first step. That was how he was able to see Naruto's first words, see him at the academy, going through life. As Mito didn't have to include these things, but she did it for him. As a means of apology, he was sure about that. The memories were interrupted though, with Hashirama's death. After Hashirama's death, the memories were dim, less detailed, the sound somewhat distorted for a while. Naruto did not know if Hashirama's death was earlier in his timeline, because of his interference, or if it was a creature that was hunting him down. Mito did not dwell on details though. It was because of this that several years flew by, with little being shown what happened. The next was Nawaki's marriage, and soon after that Tsunade's birth, and soon after that again, Tsunade's younger brother, Nawaki, named after her father. And the next bad memory was Toburama's death. As he started to see everyday life in Konoha, including Naruto as well. Madara did not come back and the entity did not show itself again. There were changes, some clan joined, some threatened to leave. Then there was Mito's realization of Kushina, of who she was and what it meant for her timeline. After that, Kushina was a large figure in Mito's memories. She was a small toddler in the beginning, Mito, being some sort of a grandmother. As Kushina grew, Naruto saw how talented his mother was. Her ability in sealing was on another level. She was the daughter of the blacksmith's daughter, and Tanaka, as he saw the boy grow up as well. As Haruto got married and he had a son. His name was Ashina, named after Mito's father before he took the mantle of clan head. Uzumaki Ashina was as blonde as his father and boisterous as Naruto. So much of a handful that Mito probably went grey, just because of the kid. As Naruto Arc 8, these were all the memories he was going to get of their life. The focus shifted to Kushina as she entered her teen years. She was popular amongst the Uzumakis, loved by her classmates and her friends. But Naruto noticed a problem not once, has there been a focus on her memories, with Minato in them. She hadn't taken to Minato at all. And Ashina was on the same team as Minato, trained by Jiraia as well, since Haruto had lived with Mito for most of his life, and Mito was mentoring Kushina. Minato was on the Uzumaki compound and close to Kushina very often, yet Kushina was not interested in him. And that is how he saw how it happened. Have you considered dating? Asked Mito. Mito-sama, Kushina said as she blushed in embarrassment. I'm much too busy with my studies, she said. Mito chuckled, but Kushina dear, there is always time for love and family, you should know that. As Mito knew, without Kushina's love for Minato, there would be no Naruto. As she long since concluded, for their time travel thing, Naruto need to be born. Perhaps as a vessel for the first to return to. I suppose Ashina-kun does catch my eye. Kushina mused as he placed a hand to her chin in consideration. Yes, he is admirable, but I think that someone less boisterous would make you happier. Someone who will complement your nature. You don't have to look within the clan alone, Kushina-chan. As her duty to her clan was strong and she figured that she might look in the clan to find love. Kushina could be just as boisterous as Ashina. A studious man to match my studio ambitions. Minato-kun is the most studious my age I know. His head is buried in the book, even larger than me though. As she shook her head, Mito just smiled and replied, it was going to take a lot, yes, for her to convince Kushina. Time skip. The invite for dinner was unexpected. Mito-sama, said Jiraia. There was a large smile on his face. He was a friendly shinobi, known through all the village, but there was something about him, Mito didn't know why. Something about his chakra that gave her the chills. Behind him was Ashina and Minato. So glad you could make it, said Mito with a smile. I took the liberty of inviting Kushina Uzumaki, my apprentice, as the three of them crossed the threshold. And there was again that strange feeling from Jiraia. What was this? After the formality had been shown and the dinners were served, somehow Mito ended up with Jiraia, as the three children were shown the ceiling room. Somewhat dangerous and somewhat unavoidable, but Mito needed to make Kushina see Minato as respectable and lovable. Your young apprentice is quite lovely. She seemed to get along well with my student Ashina-kun, Jiraia said. She's young, Jiraia-san. Don't think I haven't heard about your trips to the bathhouses. Her response were curt yet light. Oh no, I would never dream of it. It would seem that Minato-kun has his eyes on her. She has a rather eye-catching personality, doesn't she? And she's to be her ear, isn't she? As Mito nodded slightly. Minato-kun is in the running for Hokage position. I know, he's quiet, but not when it really counts. His abilities are beyond anything we've seen in Konoha for a long time, even when compared to Orochimaru. They would make a good pair. What do you say, said Jiraia. And there was again, that chill. That feeling in man, shocker, what was it? After all, you and I want the same thing, don't we? Jiraia looked up, and there was a look in his eye. You again, said Mito, as she stepped back a bit. Yes, him again. But he's not here. He had that same look that the creature had on his face. He's not here though, but I agree with him, said Jiraia. But no one will believe you. That's the problem with keeping these assassination attempts quiet for so long. We're in too deep now. But we only want one thing, you know? That's Naruto. You can't have him, Mito said, as her hand moved towards a knife on the table. We shall see. After all, you have one parent, we have the other, and both of them know nothing for now. And if you want to keep Minato-kun untainted, you would do well not to tell Kushina anything at all. Let things happen naturally, nudge here and there if you have to, but the end result, as long as it's Naruto Uzumaki, everything shall be fine. As his grin was so wide, he stretched his face. And then, after he's born, you think I'll just hand him to you, asked Mito, as she gripped the handle of the knife, but Jiraia seemed unconcerned. She was surprised the creature was still alive after all these years, yet they knew nothing of it. Well, that wasn't really surprising. Oh, he's useless, untrained. Keep him for now. We'll come for him when we already get what we want. Mito-sama, as Kushina rushed in the room. Oh, you must come see. Minato-kun has made some impressive variation to Birama-sama jutsu. Mito gave a fake smile as she was dragged away as she narrowed her eyes towards Jiraia. Time skip. Kushina, I need you to listen to me, said Mito. Mito-sama. It was late, the middle of the night. She pulled the girl to her, summoning seal. Mito had no idea who was on Jiraiya's side, but she had her ideas. If she was right, then it went far deeper than Hashirama ever imagined. I am old. I'm not going to be around forever. To be honest, I'm a bit surprised I lived this long. Yet, there's something that you and I must do. The village has been infiltrated, corrupted, and it's up to us to cleanse it. Do you understand? Kushina slowly nodded. But there were so many questions in her eyes that she wanted to ask, but she just listened. You cannot tell anyone what I'm about to tell you, okay? Especially not Ashina or Minato. You've grown close to both in recent times, but it's Minato who will be your partner. He has expressed interest. His sensei, his parents approve of his interests. In the end, it will be your choice though. I don't understand. What do they have to do with anything? What does my choice of a love interest have to do with any of this? Everything, my dear. Absolutely everything. I can only tell you so much for your own safety, but you should know the village is in danger, and we need to fix it. As Mito pulled her to a chair and sit her down. I'm going to tell you. We don't have time to take things slowly. I'm going to tell you about the creature and the creature that tried to kill him. That creature is still in the village, and if I'm right, it has infected as high as a Hokage. You mean Sarutobi-sama? Jiraiya sensei? I do. I know that for a fact. Minato and Ashina are Jiraiya students. In turn, Hiruzen. And if you tell them anything, he will know. Your life will be in danger, however. We can turn the tables around. Through them, you can be the person on the inside. They will let you in willingly. You're saying I should date one of them in order to get close to Jiraia? Kushina asks. No. Of course not. You already enjoy their company and the boys are completely innocent. Just that I need to be closer to them? Yes, and if you happen to see anything suspicious, then report it to me. But for now, let me catch you up to speed. Kushina took Mito words to heart, and she was married to Minato. On some level, she did care deeply for Minato, but their love was stunned and tainted by the mission that they were given. Mito was unable to go out, her vitality dwindling, so they discussed Edo Tensei, something that would be used when things came to a climax. Haruto was recruited as a bodyguard, and to get close, he was told nothing in order to keep the creature in the dark. There was one other that was trusted because it needed a sacrifice to allow the Edo Tensei to work. That part angered Naruto, but he could not change what he was witnessing. As he saw the three-woman plan, a death sentence, even if it was for the greater good, he had to find some way to move past his anger of the Edo Tensei. It was already done. All it would do is eat away at him if he allowed it. Menma's birth was a surprise to all. And confused. Yes. Confused the enemy. But it also brought his parents closer together. When Ashina married, Minato was his best man. Haruto couldn't be more happy for his son. Delighted to find out that he was going to be a grandfather. Arashi was surely spoiled in his younger years. Happy even. As Naruto found it tragic that the boy carried so much anger at his father's death. Sasuke was born next. His existence was something that they took note of, but they did not meddle in it. Jiraia kept his promise, keeping his distance. As much as Kushina tried to get close to him, he was careful, too careful. In between Ashina, wedding, and Arashi's birth. Mito convinced Kushina to stay open and see Menma more. The young project demanded attention, as Mito was terrified that he would be snatched away by Jiraia to train him. Kushina was quick to stop all attempts. Menma wasn't exaggerating when he said that those days were the happiest in the Namikaze household. It was almost like Kushina forgot about the problems. Then, there was Naruto's birth. The moment he took his first breath, the entire village lit up brighter than the moon. It was an announcement of the Hokage's return, but the villagers did not know of that, so after a time the child was forgotten. When they found out that he was nothing of a prodigy child, he was not like his brother Menma. Kushina stayed with Mito for days, weeping and at a loss for what to do next. She didn't know who Naruto was, she didn't know the truth at the first. She didn't even know that Naruto was what the creature wanted. Mito did not tell her any of that. Mito only told her that the Sealing Wonders would be targeted. Kushina returned to her family as she was comforted by her sensei. It was here the memories ended, as Mito had passed away, entrusting Kushina with the plans of protecting Konoha. As Naruto knew who was fighting now, he knew who the enemy was. As Naruto's eyes snapped open as Haruto looked at him, he was watching the entire time. As he put the seal away in his pouch, I'm sure that you must have questions. So you know then. I wasn't sure that you did, Haruto said. I understand that you died before you knew about me. Before my mother even knew that I was there. Yes, but I know who you are. Not too many blonde Uzumaki, you see, said Naruto with a small smile. Tatsumaki can't give it away though. His personality matched my own in my younger days. Suddenly, a voice then spoke. So sorry to interrupt your little reunion, Naruto-sama. It seems like you're missing some members. As Naruto turned towards the Konoha forces, only to see Hiruzen with Mito in memory. Some things have become rather clear. Haruto, I'm going to send you to Madara, stay there, no matter what happens. And Naruto turned and palmed the man right in his diagram. It was harsh, but he would do two things. Sunshine him away right to Madara and knock him out as well, so he would not interfere. It wouldn't do for the man to die before he probably got a chance to talk to him. Besides, it was all the time that Tatsumaki and Arashi have left. As Haruto landed right into Madara's tent, hopefully Madara was watching and knew not to attack the man. A small flick as Naruto's armor liquefied over his body. You know, Hiruzen, I kinda wonder why you were so quick to prosecute Madara, and now here you stand without the Konoha army, minutes from being declared my enemy. Surely you're smarter than that. Why was Hiruzen the only one interested in training him? Why had Minato kept his training to a bare minimum? Why had Mito insisted he remain in the village? Why did Kushina didn't let Naruto get placed on a team? Why couldn't he sense anything from Hiruzen, the Sannin and his father? Something he only realized now. Control. It was all about control. A tug of war since he was born. Hiruzen snapped his finger as Jiraia appeared, summoned to the fort. As Naruto saw his grandchildren, with kunais at their throat, being held by Jiraia. As Naruto needed to get them away, a single moment was all he needed. Let them go, Hiruzen. There would be no redemption for him if anything happened to the two of them, even if he was being manipulated. He had to be. Naruto could not accept any other outcome for Hiruzen to do this. The part from his past refused to fully condemn Hiruzen. That is not how negotiations work, Naruto. I tried to be polite. I tried to be patient. Yet you refused to take things my way, so I had to resort to these methods. I'll let them go, if you open the boxes. You don't know what you're messing with, Hiruzen, Naruto said, his tone dangerous and warning. You don't know what's really in those boxes. If you did, you wouldn't be asking me to open them. I know enough, I know that is power. Enough to rule over the elemental nations without any equal. As Naruto sighed, why hadn't Hashirama just come to him? Then all of this would have been nothing but an instant memory. As Naruto sensed the Uchihas and the Konoha forces coming, the time limit on their truce has just about reached its end. As Madara appeared next to him, Haruto, not far behind, looking a bit angry. Come now, Naruto. Do I really look like a babysitter, said Madara. Besides, he's a man in his 50s. What babysitting does he need? So, what will you do now? As Madara gazed towards the two Uzumakis that Jiraia was holding, What will you do, said Naruto as he looked at Hiruzen, if I still refuse to open the boxes even with your life on the line? You can't. Haruto glared at Madara to make him go quiet. I'm not playing games, Naruto. I'm invested in what is need to be done to make those boxes get open. I don't need the pep talk, said Hiruzen, as he was not taking the bluff. The Naruto he knew would do anything to save the two boys in their arms. There wasn't a reality in this universe which he wouldn't give anything for those two boys. Mito, Kushina, and Minato approached behind Hiruzen, but they get a small distance away from him, as they all looked grim. As both sides were approaching, Naruto wondered, where was Naruto and Orochimaru? Madara, we need a barrier, at least until this is sorted out. Aren't seals and barrier your area of expertise? As he raised a hand towards Itachi and Menma, they nod as they run across the front lines, each in opposite directions. Two shimmering barriers popped into existence, as Naruto could see the forces on each side stopping. Wait here, he said to Madara as he stepped forward. You're not alone, Naruto, said Madara, but he did not try to follow Naruto. Fine, here's now open the boxes. You have my word, but let them go first. Your word, Hiruzen said. I'm assuming that Madara will play nice. He doesn't have a choice, said Naruto. Well then, let us bring the boxes out, said Hiruzen. Don't bother, said Naruto as he went through hand sign. As he slammed his hand on the ground, 9 poof. As all the 9 boxes were there. Hiruzen was shocked. He wasn't the only one though. To believe that Naruto could summon all of them. And 9? There were 9 boxes? He only knew of 8. Where was the 9th one hidden? So you're telling me you had to wait to just summon all of them this entire time? Madara sighed, figured he said. Tatsumaki was having a hard time breathing the air, and the presents coming from the boxes were heavy. Jiraia was the only thing keeping the boy up to his feet. Are you still so sure you want me to open them, Hiruzen? If I do this, that's it, we're done. I open them, you let my family go, and you hand yourself over. Those are my terms. Open the boxes first, Hiruzen said. As Naruto just looked at Hiruzen, as he thought he was serious. As Naruto went down, he started to draw in Senjutsu. As he felt the body changes, as he wondered if it looked like the Senjutsu markings or this old time, he didn't know. As a thin chakra chain came from his palm and connected all boxes like it was a bracelet. Last chance, Hiruzen, is this really what you want? Will this satisfy you, said Naruto. As Naruto looked towards the man, seeing nothing of the third Hokage that he grew up with. After all, he was a 4th year. Yes, this is what I want. This is for the good of Konoha and you will see shortly. Release, Naruto said. As the 9 boxes dissolved, and cloud of anguish washed over all of them. Not even Madara could stop himself as he clutched at his throat. His heart was pounding, his lungs were aching, as he felt like his brain was hammering around in the skull, pulsating hard. As they could feel it, their body were telling them death. Run, run. As Jiraia gripped, slipped on 2 boys, Naruto was there as he grabbed both of them and threw them towards Haruto. A barrier appeared a moment later, shielding them from the effects. The boys started to call violently as they could breathe once again. As 9 ferocious roars echoed through the air, bringing the Konoha forces and the Uchihas to their knees. The fog started to solidify, shapes forming quickly. As Madara saw those red, thick eyes, as he saw it, he remembered them, the Kyuubi. As 9 still forming beasts could be seen, forming together off the ground, each of them towering over the mountains. All 9 silhouettes could be seen from Konoha in the distance. As Madara coughed, as he was able to breathe again, you know, you could have warned me. You wanted them open as well. Thought I would leave you to suffer as well, said Naruto, as he dropped the barrier around the boys. Laughter echoed through the air from Hiruzen as he stepped forward. This is wonderful. Jiraia, did you ever imagine your chakra would be this immense? As Naruto did not move, his mind was heavy, with the loss of the Hiruzen he knew in his past. A hand grabbed his shoulder and he turned to Madara. If he doesn't calm down, he might just have a heart attack. Tsunade, Orochimaru, now Jiraia! These people are not the ones he formed those bonds with, those many years ago. As high above them, that Naruto didn't pick up on because of sensor abilities not going so far up in the sky, was a giant hawk. The bird swooped down towards the Bijous. 2 shinobis flipped off the bird back and went through familiar hand signs. Madara crouched down to prepare his attack. Leave them, said Naruto as he stopped him. Madara was confused, but he listened as ink spread around Jiraia, Orochimaru and Tsunade. Our focus now is to get the innocents out of this fight. Things are about to get really violent. Really quickly, said Naruto. The Uchihas and those from Konoha should not die senselessly. And how do you plan to pick out the innocents from the Hiruzen supporters? Said Haruto, as he saw the ceiling spread out around a half solid form of a tail beast. If Naruto wasn't trying to stop it, did that mean he gave up on them? Was he more concerned for the safety of his family? Simple. They knew I was a skill sensor, so anyone loyal to Hiruzen would be impossible for me to sense. As Jiraia and the others did not even notice that Naruto was not doing anything to stop them. as he was mostly concerned what they were trying to seal the most solid form to be true. Most of them were still smoke as they were reforming into something. As he watched as Hiruzen went forward to the center of the seal. As Naruto really wondered if Hiruzen think his coils could stand the chakra of 9 tail beasts. Did they perhaps plan to sink the chakra into more than one person? Who knows? Because the moment the tail beasts solidify, as their weight hit the ground a deep thud, they shatter out of existence in an instant. Without something to act as a focus point of the seal, their chakra dissolve. Flicks of blue chakra flicker around as Hiruzen and his team stared dumbfoundedly at the spot where the beings once were. You honestly couldn't believe that living eternal beings would be fine with eternal claustrophobia, said Naruto. It was my first idea, I admit. Kurama immediately hated, and who could blame him? You, Hiruzen said. You have deceived me. I did no such thing. You wanted the box open, I opened them. It's not my fault you fell for the decoy. That's all the boxes ever were. Naruto turned towards the Konoha forces, its voice magnified by a quick seal. Those loyal to Hiruzen and his cause, hear me now. This is your final warning. Open your hearts to Konoha once more and suffer the consequence of my wrath. To those who are innocent, rest easy with the knowledge that you're safe. As Naruto turned towards Hiruzen, that warning go towards you too. This is your last chance to give up on the tail beasts. I will never give up. I stand for the glory of Konoha. How could you possibly understand, Hiruzen said? You've been gone for so many years. As he took a step forward, your actions may have grown Konoha. But what you don't understand that every shinobi who was never born in Konoha has born that deep hatred for the leaf. As Naruto turned to Madara, who shrugged. He's not wrong. Konoha was sprung up overnight. 3 powerful clans coming together and hoarding in on all the missions. The other clans suffered. Those that joined Konoha strive for the village. How could they not, as the village system was already in place? Every obstacle we should have faced, they were already solved thanks to you. After some time, other villages started to form, but they paled in comparison when compared to Konoha. They all want to know one question. How did Konoha strive so instantly? How could they anticipate every problem before it even rise? Hiruzen continued. There were many attempts to learn our secrets. When it became clear that a barrier around Konoha was impenetrable, they started to target shinobis for informations. It forced us to increase training on the young, to ensure that they could handle torture. Standard medkit came with suicidal tablet just in case. Snazzy younger brother was a victim to such an incident, but not needed to resort to unpleasant things before he was rescued. Even so, using the TLB would not solve the conflict between the villages, said Naruto. No, but it will make our position so absolute. They will never dare to harm one of us own again. Nothing stopped them from banding together, from trying to destroy us. This internal conflict won't help matters, Naruto said. Even if you got the tail beast, they won't be able to save every single child on the battlefield. They definitely wouldn't want to help you as well. They are entirely against being enslaved. They wouldn't have a choice, said Hiruzen. Naruto walked right past Hiruzen as he went straight towards the barrier. Now is the time to choose. You're either with Hiruzen or against him. As he placed a hand in the barrier as it exploded into a shower of sparks. His gaze traveled towards Sakura and Kakashi, their face confused and grim. Multi-Sharingan Jutsu, said Naruto, as he could sense one's emotions as they could sense the emotion of the shinobis and flash them back to Konoha, except for a small number of people. Kakashi and Sakura found themselves in the Uchiha forces as Sasuke jumped at their sudden arrival. Mito and a confused Kushina reappeared close to Naruto. What remained of the Konoha forces was a high rank of shinobis, all glaring at Naruto. You're in, out of your depth, Hiruzen. Give up now while you still can. And Minato, would you be willing to fight him? Asked Jiraia, as Jiraia looked smug at his loophole that was standing behind him. As Naruto turned to Minato, his emotions completely blocked off of his senses. If Minato agreed with everything he's seen you do in the last 10 minutes, and if he still stand by you, that is his choice. Kushina started to get panic as she stepped away from Mito and Naruto. Minato, do you stand with your sensei? How can I stand there with the man that killed my son? Minato said, glaring at Madara. The boxes did not have what we were looking for, said Minato. Madara stepped forward, but Naruto raised a hand. Madara, I have this under control. And you will not tell us where we will find those chakra beasts, Naruto, Hiruzen said. Of course not, said Naruto. As Naruto saw the exact moment in his father's eyes when he made his choice, as a kunai was thrown towards him, as Naruto raised his hand as it slid off his palm and hit his armor. Then you are enemy of Konoha, said Minato as he jumped back. And I have to eliminate the threat. The entire Konoha group got into a fighting stance. As Naruto stood there, Madara stepped beside him. As Naruto looked at the cut on his arm, it was the exact same spot where it cut his hand when he first left the village on the C-rank mission that turned to a A rank. What was the point of that, Minato? Said Naruto. I cannot understand how you let down your guard against me. I wonder, how far would you let it go? Said Minato. As Naruto still stared at the cut, it was small, something that would have been healed in a moment if he still had Kurama. Naruto wondered what was wrong. What is this? He couldn't keep his thoughts in one place. The cut, why was it there? Had he made a vow not to let his team down again? What was he doing? Yes, wave. That was it. His team was attacked. When they were going to the bridge builder, his hands fell to his side. He didn't know why, but the words that he'd want to say couldn't leave his mouth. Suddenly he couldn't move, he couldn't feel, he couldn't respond. The world grew silent like no words existed, like the world was holding its breath. As Madara noticed something was off, Naruto. As Madara stepped forward, as he caught Naruto. Menma, he shouted. Menma? Why Menma? Minato stepped forward, as he seemed to enjoy the sight. Madara activated his Sharingan and looked up, as Minato stood where he was. As Naruto coughed, once, and then twice, as blood came from his mouth. Poison. The thought came to Naruto's mind. He stabbed himself to get rid of the wound from the demon brothers. If only he could move to do the same to this. He was losing feel in his fingers, and his connection to his chakra coils were getting stiff. As the transformation poofed away, showing his true features. As he was shorter, younger, and the armor a bit too big for him. Dad. Minato's face was stunned, as he couldn't understand. What? As the man couldn't speak, his brain seemed to reboot. Kushina rushed forward as fast as possible as she grabbed him away from Madara. As she didn't understand. Naruto, my baby, my boy, she said. She seemed to have had an internal crash just as Minato. He couldn't move, he couldn't speak. He could only watch what was going on. How? I don't understand, she said. Minato said. Tsunade! Help him! Heal him, he shouted. Tsunade stood still as she hesitated. The usual poison, I presume, she said. Yes, said Minato. The third variation. I cannot treat him here. And it's been almost 3 minutes, she said. Please, said Minato. Is there anything I can do? I can jump you to the hospital. You will do no such thing. You cannot leave the battlefield to start a war, Lord Fifth, said Hiruzen. It's no wonder that we haven't taken advantage of the element of surprise you gave us and disposed of Madara as well. As Menma rushed over as he saw the gash under her arm, where the three-pronged kunai had slashed him, and the purple thin lines that spread out. As he looked at his father, did it never once occur to you that if one of your sons were working with Madara, that the both of them were? Madara knew that he was lying. Menma did not know that Naruto was the first, which meant that he was bluffing as he was aiming to hurt Minato mentally more than physically. So you're telling me that he's dying and you can't save him, said Kushina. Mito-sama, anyone. Can no one save him, she shouted. Menma dropped to his knees as his hand spread over Naruto's chest. Fast was the only way he was going to save his brother. Fast enough to heal the wound so he wouldn't bleed out. Fast enough to get him to the compound. They had the antidote. Problem was, Naruto's body was quickly shutting down. Giving the antidote too late meant that nothing would happen. His heart would not pump it through his system to negate the poison. Yet, Menma would give up, but Naruto felt none of this, as his entire body felt numb. He was losing everything at the moment. Every single thing. Kushina stared the blood in her hands at the kunai that Minato had long since thrown to the ground. She closed her eyes, crying silently, as Naruto could feel her turmoil. To lose her son in 2D, he knew that he caused it. How many times was she going to have to face this? Minato was quiet. As he didn't say anything, he didn't move, nothing at all. Menma healings were not the best, but he had the advantage of Senjutsu, a skill that Madara tried to teach him. He had no talent for using to fight, so Madara urged him to add it to medical ninjutsu, the same that Hashirama had. As Naruto could no longer see clearly, only thing he saw was a blur that was Menma moving around, and he heard Kushina crying. All he had left was his sensing, as his ability told him that he was dying, and there was nothing Menma could do that could save him. Menma knew it, he was just in denial. Madara was angry, livid, completely enraged. The fact that he hadn't done more than just call Menma amazed Naruto. Mito was the same as Menma, she knew that it was too late. The poison was deadly and fast, designed to finish the job quickly. Then a voice sprung up out of nowhere. You really are a stubborn baka. Like usual, helpless without me. It's been a long time, Naruto. A familiar voice said in his mind. It surely has. Longer for me than I assume it was for you. That voice in his mind, so familiar. Yes, he remembered it well. But how? But guys, to be in subscribe right here. If you want the next part, if you're trying to do, like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification to stay posted. Remember, share to all of your friends in social media platform. And also guys, remember, if you're new and this is the first time you hear my voice and you enjoy the videos on both anime making and anime making too, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the anime making family. And also go ahead and check out the brand new episode on this channel of What If Naruto Had a New Dream that will change everything. And enjoy that, guys. And I also posted a brand new episode over on Anime King of What If Naruto was given a gift that will change everything, guys. So go ahead and enjoy it as well. And yeah, thank you for all of your help and your support. And for now, I'm Motivator. See you guys soon. Peace.